Here on the Beyond the Garden Basics newsletter and podcast, we like to answer your questions. We're delving into a topic today that if you're a gardener that likes mulch, you should have a chipper shredder. Susie writes in and says, Debbie Flower mentioned in episode 411 of the Garden Basics podcast, which was entitled, by the way, Soil Building Tips, that she is using an electric chipper shredder. What brand or model did she purchase? Fred, do you have one that you like and recommend as well? I want a good electric one. Thanks, Susie. Well, Susie, I have a gas one. I'm a guy, and I like my 8-horsepower BCS gas chipper shredder that can take branches up to 3 inches in diameter. And yes, it's noisy, so you wear ear protection. It's powerful, so you want to be sure to take off all jewelry and wristwatches, anything that might fall in.
Long hair. Tie back long hair.
Yeah, do all that. Anything loose? Glasses? Yeah, especially if you have glasses in your...
Take your gloves off. You never wear gloves when you're operating a chipper shredder, even
if they're electric.
Well, the electric ads, promotions show people with gloves on. They are not nearly as powerful. When I did use gas chipper shredders at the schools where I worked, I did like the 8 horsepower. I wouldn't go below 8 horsepower if I were going to get an electric one. I'm sorry, a gas chipper shredder.
So let's answer Susie's question first.
Okay.
What is your electric chipper shredder?
It's a Sunjo CJ602E, it's a couple years old, so it's probably not available new anymore. They do have a Sunjo CJ603E for about $200 or a little more. I think mine was about the same price. I had used that same chipper shredder at my son's house in Minnesota, and when he no longer needed it, I was really tempted to bring it home, but
they wouldn't let you.
The shipping was prohibitive, so a friend of his took it, and I got one for Christmas. Do I like it? I do. I like it because I can move it. I can pick it up. It has wheels.
You can pick it up?
I can.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
I can pick it up, but you don't have to. It's on wheels. You can just drag it behind you like an old-fashioned rolling suitcase. And it is a plug-in, so I don't have to deal with batteries. I have other garden tools that are battery-operated, and I really don't mind dealing with the batteries. So you do need a long extension cord, which I have on a reel, and I pull it out, plug it in. I have outlets outside my house, and plug it into the chipper shredder. It is a little slow, and it makes some noise. And so I was pruning my Palo Verde it's been a couple weeks, and I cut everything into straight pieces. You can have a little bit of branching or Y-shaped branching, but you don't want a lot of branches sticking out very far. The opening is, I don't know, I'm guessing about 6 inches, and it doesn't do really well with just green stuff.
Because it's wet?
It just goes straight through it. Even some of the Palo Verde leaves, even though they're very tiny, just go straight through it. So I was very organized. I prepped all my branches. It'll take green stems, but they don't chop as well. I'll get longer pieces that come out the bottom. I don't care about that. I just chip and let it fall to the ground, use it as mulch. And when the pile gets tall enough and it's not working very well, I'll just move over and chip again. I have not had it clog on me, so I can't address that. It does have a plastic pusher, so you can push things through it. What else would you want to know? A simple on-off switch.
What size branches will it take?
Up to about 2 inches.
Okay, all right. Probably a little less than 2 inches. It gets mixed reviews on Amazon.
Okay.
That particular one, with one of the primary complaints being green material is difficult and wet material. And some people are not happy with the mulch size it produces. They say it's too big.
Well, the smaller the thing you put into it, the bigger it comes out the other end. So that's what I was saying. It doesn't really take the thin branches. They'll come out, they'll be 8 inches long.
Like strips.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't mind.
There isn't a screen that you can replace. Now, on my gas-powered one, there are different screens you can put in front that will reduce the size of what comes out.
Nothing like that. This is a very simple machine, and I like it that way.
I have questions about your electrical system
Mm-hmm.
in that it's a 15 amp load, this particular model.
Oh,
It takes 15 amp loads. Does the circuit you're plugging into, is it a 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit?
I have no idea. I
Oh.
never checked. I just plug it in.
All right. So you never had a problem where circuits were tripped or fuses were blown or anything
No.
like that?
And I live in an old house, and one outlet was new. When we remodeled the kitchen, we put an outlet outside. So that's probably on a different
Yeah.
breaker but the other one I was using was old.
Did you notice any heat in the cord?
No.
All right. Because what I'm getting at is the extension cord, because most
Mhm.
people need the extension cord, and a lot of people don't realize that for those machines that require more amperage, and 15 amps is a lot of amps, that you need a thicker extension cord, like a 10 gauge wire.
Well, this is an outdoor orange extension cord.
All right. Do you know if it's rated 10 gauge or 12
I
gauge?
don't, but it's fairly fat,
Yeah.
thick like my pinky,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, what's it called? Anchored is not the word. You have the third prong.
Right. Yeah. It's polarized.
Yeah.
Yeah. The smaller, thinner extension cords are usually 16 gauge. 10 gauge is the thickest. At 50 feet, a 16 gauge cord can support only 13 amps, while a 10 gauge can handle up to 20 amps over longer runs. So the longer extension cord you get, the thicker it should be. You don't
these
want
are the work type of extension
is
cords,
it
not the
50?
in-the-house extension
All
cord.
right. So is it a 50 foot or a 100 foot?
I would say 50 at most.
Okay. All right. Then you're probably in good shape then. So that's the one thing you need to do with heavy duty outdoor equipment like that is make sure that it's okay to use and you're not running too long an extension cord or an underpowered extension cord. I've seen what happens when you try to run things that
Wasn't pretty, I bet.
it wasn't pretty. It was my sister's RV.
Oof.
She was planting. She decided to plug in to an outdoor outlet I had
Mm-hmm.
with 110. And I think she was running the heater and her hairdryer at the same time. And I started smelling smoke at the circuit breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Not the circuit breaker, but actually at the outlet that has the GFI switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was smelling.
Oof.
And so I turn things off here. Yeah, sure enough, it was pretty well burnt. So yeah, be careful of that.
Yeah.
And do it carefully.
Good points. I wouldn't have even thought about that.
That's what guys do. They
Yes,
just think,
well, that's why you're on this earth.
Well, that's all. Yeah, I know, and we can change, sockets and do things like that. But a lot of homes now have 20 amp outlets that they plug into. I have a 50 watt amp outlet that I can plug into outdoors just in case, because I have chainsaws. Chainsaws are another one of those electric items that you want to use that big thick cord for.
Okay.
Because they are high amperage devices. There are now cordless, battery-powered chipper shredders.
Mm-hmm.
And people, of course, are gung-ho about that. I mean, just think of all the things that you charge batteries for to do yard work now. You got leaf blowers and chainsaws.
Yes, and I have a mini chainsaw I love, and I have power-operated lopper. Well, it's more like a hand shear that I love.
I could only find online one battery-powered cordless electric chipper, 2.4 horsepower, and it's a heavy-duty machine. It sells for $6,400, and that's pre-tariff pricing, by the way. And with that, you need a battery, and you probably want two batteries because the battery's only good for about 50 minutes on this thing. So you'd want to be able to swap it out and finish up your job by putting in another battery. Well, that second battery is going to cost you $1,400. But wait a minute, you got to charge that battery. Yeah, well, that's $600 if you want the charger. So this price on this battery-operated cordless electric chipper, even though it has a high-performance Honda EGX motor, is going to set you back a few dollars. But it can chip rigid materials such as branches up to 2.5 inches in diameter. So there's that. And of course, with no fumes, that's the big benefit of electric over
Electric is quieter and no fumes, yeah.
Right.
And what do the reviews say? Go down. See, it says chipper reviews.
Let's see here. It's brand new product built on the foundation of our decades of experience. Therefore, specific reviews will be provided as they become available.
Oh, that's going to be a tough sell then.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the first one.
Especially at that price. But this battery that they sell for $1,400 weighs 14 pounds.
Holy smokes.
So, yeah, that's a two-handed battery that you're lugging around. And so the charger for it, as you might imagine, would sell for $600.
Wow.
So I think that is
the future, but it's not here yet.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But it'll get here
Mm-hmm.
in time. And in the meantime, my advice would definitely be spend as much money as possible.
Know what you want to chip. How big is it?
Yeah.
Or small.
And know the capacity of it, the diameter of the branches, for example. I like it, the fact my BCS has 2 hoppers. Enter it from the top, it shreds. Enter it from the side, it chips.
Oh.
So that makes it nice. So for the really woody stuff of 2.5, 3 inch stuff, I go through the side to make chips. And then the top, like the old corn stalks or whatever, makes a nice green mulch.
Mm-hmm.
But that shreds. So, yeah, now you were saying that in a lot of situations, though, what comes out more resembles shreds.
If it's greener and smaller, yes, it shreds more than it chips. If it's wood, it chips.
Another thing to look at, too, is the reduction ratio, which means the machine can compress more debris into a smaller space. A 10-to-1 ratio means a pile of yard waste will be reduced to 1/10 of its original volume. And that was always a sad part for me and the BCS gas chipper is I would have a pile that was taller than me and longer than me, and it would be reduced down to a little pile.
Yes, same here. It's a 21-to-1 on the Sunjo, and that's, you don't get a lot, but you get what you get.
Does it have a collection bag?
No.
Okay, so you either...
the new one may. Mine does not.
All right. Do you put out a tarp or something to catch it all?
At my son's, I just used a appropriately sized black plastic plant pot and put it under there. And when it got full, I just moved it over and dumped it in the garden. At my house, I just stand somewhere where I need mulch. Let it drop to the ground.
Yes. A discharge chute is something to look forward to. Safety features, something to protect you, such as, and the machine too. Like if you have a gas one, you want a low oil shutdown switch on it, or something that'll shut down if there's not enough oil in it. Overload protection, safety flaps over the hopper, emergency shutoff controls, and portability. You pointed out you can lift yours. That's great. You don't lift mine. It's got 4.
You gotta have a place to store it. Yours.
It's under the house. Yes,
it's pretty big. I would.
It's big, and it needs ramps to get over the steps.
Wow.
And it's heavy, but it does a great job.
I have to say, on my Sunjo, if I run it for a long time, it will start to get hot. And then I'll just shut it off.
Okay, there is that. All right. They all have different levels of performance. Reviews often highlight electric machines' effectiveness on smaller, drier branches and their portability compared to gas models, but note the limitation with larger or wet materials, as you pointed out. So there's a lot of good models out there, and if you use Google and look at their little AI breakout of it, I don't know who's paying them for this, but I'm sure somebody is. They recommend the Wen 15-amp electric wood chipper and shredder, the Patriot electric wood chipper and leaf shredder, the Sunjo one that you have, the CJ. You have the 602. This is the CJ 603, which they like. It offers robust performance for yards with just a few trees. And it's very effective at turning yard waste into mulch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but you would disagree with that because your yard waste would be green waste.
I don't get what you're saying.
Well, if you're taking an old tomato plant and running it through there, doesn't it clog?
Yeah, I haven't tried a tomato plant, but that I think a tomato would go through. The stems are pretty stiff.
Yeah.
It would be bolted chard or something that I wouldn't put through there.
Okay.
That I'd throw in my other compost.
I'd feed it to the worms.
Right.
The other electric ones they like is the Earthwise 15-amp electric corded chipper shredder Westinghouse. They have a 15-amp corded electric chipper shredder. So there's a lot out there, and they range in price from $100, $200 on up.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted something that was easy for me, that I could do it all by myself.
And you do.
I do.
And it doesn't require much servicing. With gas, you've got
no servicing.
Yeah. There's a lot of hassles with gas equipment, you may recall, including in storing it for the winter, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You need to
stabilize your gasoline.
Stabilize the gasoline, yes. You need to check the belts a lot and make sure they're okay, because they can burn up if you try to overload it.
And is it a separate oil, or is it mixed with the gas?
No, it's separate oil. It's a 4-stroke engine.
A 4-stroke engine.
So you've got the gas goes here and the oil goes there, and there is no warning. I think it won't even start if the oil is low.
Okay,
so that's
good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with it in that whenever I pull it out of storage and go to fire it up, it usually doesn't take much to get it going.
Good.
So as long as it's stabilized.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got in the habit of running my gas equipment until it's empty.
Uh-huh.
And that way you're sure not to screw up the innards.
Right. It's not going to get all clogged with yucky old fuel.
Yeah, like yucky old fuel.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that. I think it was a Willie Nelson song, Yucky Old Fuel. So there is the story there on chipper shredders. They're a wonderful investment if you have a couple of $1,000s to burn or less, and you're thinking, I'll get a rototiller. You would use a chipper shredder a lot more than you'd use a rototiller.
Yes.
And I would recommend that you rent a rototiller, but buy a chipper shredder. Because the only time you need a rototiller is usually on initial one-time gardening and turning a lawn into a garden, for example, to do it. The rest of the time you can use your broad rake.
Yes.
Yes. Chipper shredders. Every good gardener has one. Debbie Flower, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
If you want to hear and read more about gas-powered chipper shredders, please become a paid subscriber to the Beyond the Garden Basics newsletter and podcast. Paid subscribers will find out more about the benefits of owning a gas-powered chipper shredder from Brad Gay, who owns an outdoor power tool retail store and repair service. He'll talk about the importance of the size and weight of the flywheel, the importance of using different size screens on the exit chute, the need for head, eye, ear, and arm protection when shredding vines with a gas chipper shredder. And he offers a link to a video for more information about all that you can do with a chipper shredder. All that awaits paid subscribers to the Beyond the Garden Basics newsletter and podcast. Don't forget that paid subscribers also get access to the complete library of newsletter editions, which now numbers well over 200. And the full newsletter and podcast feature a human-powered transcription final of the podcast, which puts those AI-generated transcripts to shame that you're going to find on some podcast players. Plus, it lets me know that I'm doing something worthwhile here that you find of value, even if perhaps it's only occasionally. The Beyond the Garden Basics podcast and newsletter comes out twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. So, thanks for becoming a paid subscriber. Just click on the subscribe link in the newsletter to keep the good research-based gardening information coming your way. And you'll get the rest of this podcast and the complete newsletter, including the transcription. Thank you for listening and reading.